sign in to HBO's Facebook page, facebook.com/HBO Boxing, and give us your opinion as what you think will happen in the main event. 80% of you believe that Manny Pacquiao wins. Timothy Bradley, 18%, still 1% voting for the draw, 1% for no contest. A lot of you apparently ignoring the statistical reality of the number of times that Bradley fights have involved accidental headbutts, some of which led to technical decision stoppages. Noteworthily, his big showdown for 140-pound unification last year in Pontiac, Michigan, against Devin Alexander.
Another southpaw.
Another southpaw.
Like
exactly
Pacquiao.
Right. Earlier this week, we asked our Emanuel Stewart for a profile of the strategic imperatives for both fighters in Pacquiao versus Bradley. Let's take a look at that.
Manny Pacquiao versus Timothy Bradley may look like a mismatch on paper, but I believe that Bradley's style will pose a great deal of technical problems for Pacquiao, and I expect to see 12 hard-fought competitive rounds of action. In recent years, Pacquiao has fought against some naturally bigger fighters who enter the ring weak from having to lose too much weight in their training camps. He has also faced an array of slow fighters.
Pacquiao's hands are blindingly fast.
Who ended up making Pacquiao look even faster and stronger.
This is the brilliance of the Filipino slugger.
Timothy Desert Storm.
In Bradley, Pacquiao is facing a 28-year-old confident fighter in his prime.
Good left hook by Bradley.
Bradley will apply intelligent pressure on Pacquiao.
Bradley knocks Alexander back into the ropes.
Bradley has great work ethic and will be mentally and physically well prepared for this fight.
I'm the best. I'm the best.
Pacquiao prefers to fight at a distance and likes to move around the ring, looking to unload one of his explosive trademark combinations.
And it flurries and backs Margarito off again.
Marquez was successful when he took a half a step back and counterpunched Pacquiao.
He times Pacquiao perfectly with that shot.
Bradley has to put more pressure on Pacquiao than Marquez did, and he has to make Pacquiao fight the full 3 minutes of each round. Bradley is not just a bully who fights on the inside. It is imperative that Pacquiao throws his punches with authority and focuses on good placement. If he doesn't, Bradley will absorb Pacquiao's punches and fire back effective combinations, much like Marquez did. Bradley has never been dominated in a fight, and only Kendall Holt has been able to hit him with anything of significance. The key to the fight may come down to Pacquiao's own conditioning and his state of mind. Lately, his focus appears to be split in too many directions. If he enters the ring against Bradley anything less than 100%, he could find himself in a lot of trouble. Bradley is at the peak of his career and stronger at 147 than he was at 140 pounds. This has the making of a Fight of the Year candidate, and I expect the fight to go the full distance.
So the wisdom of Emanuel Stewart, and on camera here, we want to remind you that Top Rank Promotions, the promoter for tonight's fight, has made a decision that the main event between Pacquiao and Bradley will not begin until the NBA playoff game between the Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics is over in Miami. So rest assured that you have the opportunity to see both, and that the main event for the evening will not begin until the basketball game is over. Meanwhile, Max Kellerman, Emanuel Stewart isn't the only one of our experts who believes that Timothy Bradley has an excellent chance and may actually be in position to win the fight. What are your reasons for believing that?
Well, I know why Freddie Roach okayed Tim Bradley. He looks and sees that wild way that Bradley sometimes comes in, especially to the body, and starts winging shots, and he's open for straight left hands. And you saw against Kendall Holt what happened there. He hit the deck. Pacquiao's so fast and so explosive. Maybe Freddie Roach thinks rinse and repeat, just keep doing that and everything's fine. What Freddie is overlooking, I think, and surprising to me, is that Tim Bradley has on the inside what Freddie Roach had on the inside that made him so compelling to watch when he was a featherweight contender in the early 80s. Tim Bradley is super competitive. A B+ across the board, skills, speed, etc., but an A+ in terms of determination. And it's been a long time since Manny Pacquiao has been in the ring with a fighter in his prime who could fight and was not trying to lose at all.
All right, Emanuel Steward, we spent time yesterday with the new, smiling, sweeter, more peaceful, calmed down Manny Pacquiao. Our conversation with him was fun and entertaining. Did it affect your opinion in any way on his mentality coming into the fight?
Well, I would say this. Both guys are great family men at this stage going into the fight. But I think that Manny has always had one of its advantages being the intensity, animalistic type style, the instincts that he had, which has carried him through all of the great fights and has made him our really premier fighter for the last 8 years in the sport. And I think he may have lost a little bit of that. It's good to see him happy and peaceful with his family, but he seems to be a little too peaceful and too relaxed to me.
Manny Pacquiao, who first came to these shores 11 years ago, was seemingly wild, reckless, in the ring and out. He's an entirely different personality now. Earlier this week, our Max Kellerman sat down with him.
Here you are again, another big fight, Manny.
Thank you.
You always give praise to God after your fights, but you have a newfound intensity about religion. Where did that come from?
I already believed God before, and I always pray. But when I read the Bible, I found my new way of life, and I found the truth and how to obey and follow the commandments of God. Not only for prayer and belief, it's apply it to yourself. And
how have you applied it?
apply and do it, and obey and follow His commandments.
What commandments were you not following that you're following now?
Everything is the sexual immorality and drunkenness,
No more drinking, no more philandering,
Yes,
no more gambling.
yes.
How has that affected your business, the gambling?
It's helped a lot. I mean, in my personal life, I believe that I have salvation and I have eternal life.
But I understand you closed down. You had some ownership stakes in a casino, different businesses, and you divested. You're no longer doing that.
Yes, in bar.
And nothing to do with drinking either.
Yes.
Here's Manny Pacquiao.
Has a reputation as a bit of a wild kid, is a pool hustler in his spare time.
I remember knowing you were a good fighter, but seeing you for the first time and thinking, oh my God, this guy is incredible against Ledwaba, who is a young, prime, rising fighter, very impressive fighter. And you just destroyed him. And I thought, who's this? Pacquiao's even better than I thought. That was the last time that you fought a guy like Timothy Bradley, right? A young, in his prime, skillful, determined fighter. What did you think about Ledwaba before the fight?
Oh, I'm watching before. I'm cheering for him, and this guy is good fighter. And I like the way he pounds, the way he blocked the punches.
Well, back then he was on top or getting there, and you were coming up. Now you're on top, and Bradley's coming up. What do you think of Tim Bradley?
He's thinking the same way that I'm thinking. I mean, the way I thinking before, I know. I think that's why in this training camp, we did our best. We did our a lot of sacrifices, and I focused 100%, and I'm very inspired for this training camp because I know what he's thinking, because I've been there before.
He's hungry.
Yes, he's hungry.
How do you beat a young, hungry fighter?
It's just think like a young also, and then train like a young also.
Thanks, Manny.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
The subject fascinates me, Max, because frankly, no more drinking, that sounds good. No more late night carousing, I don't see the problem. No more gambling, no more cockfighting. How is that supposed to hurt him as a fighter? It is religion, it appears, which has thrown boxing media for a loop. What do you make of that?
I don't know if it's causal. I don't know if, he's religious now, he won't fight well. Maybe there is some correlation. Maybe it's some indicator that he's moving on to a new phase of his life. It really sounds like the plot to Easy Money, one of my favorite movies. Rodney Dangerfield has to give up philandering and drinking and gambling in order to get this inheritance. And that's the position Manny Pacquiao finds himself in now. But I'm also reminded of the plot of Rocky III, another of my favorites, Jim, where Mickey, Rocky's trainer, sits down when he tells him, you don't want to fight Clubber Lang. And Rocky's telling him about how I made 10 title defenses. And Mickey says they were setups. They were handpicked. Yeah, they were good fighters, but not like this guy. This is the first fight in a long time that wasn't a setup, where the opponent wasn't handpicked. Marquez gave him a great fight, but he was supposed to be too old. Margarito, Mosley at the end of their careers, come on. This ain't an old Margarito or Mosley. This is a guy in his prime who is trying to knock you to tomorrow, Rock.
De La Hoya was favored over him, but that, as it turned out, to be a setup.
Last fight of De La Hoya's career?
Well, following with the religious theme here, Max is ecumenical in his approach to these interviews. He also sat down with Timothy Bradley.
Tim, you finally made it to the big stage. What's it like?
It's great. A lot of attention, a lot of exposure. This is pretty much what I've been waiting on my whole career. When you hear the name Timothy Bradley now, it's right next to Pacquiao. I mean, everybody pretty much knows who I am now. This fight's definitely going to change my life.
24/7 cameras in your house following you around, watching you eat at the vegan restaurant. What's that like?
That's been pretty cool. I enjoyed it. I think that, it was great for the, public, great for the, the fans that definitely, come into my life. And I definitely enjoyed the cameras being there and actually seeing myself on
Is it,
cameras.
you were a guy, you didn't come up with a lot of fanfare.
No.
You didn't have, you weren't playing to sold out arenas. You were going on the road, getting off the deck against Kendall Holt, beating Junior Witter in his own backyard for a belt, taking on an undefeated Lamont Peterson, beating him easier than, he beat Amir Khan.
Yeah.
Not huge purses, not a lot of fanfare. Finally, you get to this level, and the 24/7 cameras are there, and Pacquiao's done this a million times.
Right.
Isn't that a huge advantage for him?
That's an advantage for him. I think that's the only advantage for him, honestly. As far as the fight goes, I think that's
he has a speed advantage, punching power advantage.
Probably punching power, maybe. Yeah, punching power. I mean, he has knocked guys out, but I don't think he has that one punch knockout power. Not like Kendall Holt. Kendall Holt had one punch knockout power.
Considering what you represent, something that Pacquiao hasn't seen in a long time, undefeated, skillful champion, a guy who with a ton of determination in his prime. Why do they take this fight with you? What do you think they see?
I think Freddie Roach, he said in the past that, he sees something that he thinks that, Manny Pacquiao can definitely capitalize on. He feels that I'm the right guy to make Pacquiao look, spectacular.
What do you think he sees?
I have no idea what he sees. But I thank him for seeing whatever he sees, because it's going to be different in the ring. There's a lot of people that watch me fight, in person, and they see me fight on television. I don't look that damn spectacular. I don't look flashy. But I'll tell you, man, when they get in the ring with me, it's a whole different story.
If, Pacquiao generates so much money, and the sense is, I have the sense, boy, Bradley better win by a wide margin if he wants to get a decision. That said, let's say you hurt him with something at some point in that fight. We've seen guys hurt Pacquiao, they rush in and get knocked out or get hurt themselves. What do you do if you have Pacquiao hurt? It's the 8th, 9th round, it's a really tough fight. You don't want to be overly aggressive. Do you go for it? What do you do?
Go for it. Go for it. If you got a guy hurt, you got to go for it. I'm gonna explode. If I get this guy hurt, I'm gonna go for it. At the end of the day, what it boils down to me is definitely giving it everything I have. I'm not just gonna be satisfied with just a victory here. I really want to put everything on the line, and if I hurt this guy, I definitely want to take my chance and try to get him up out of there.
You never, arrogant, but you train very hard, you're accomplished, and you have a certain kind of confidence about stuff. You brought out a ticket for the rematch.
Yeah.
November 10th. How'd you come up with the date? And Pacquiao at the press conference sees that you already have the rematch, meaning you won the first fight.
Right.
Who came up with that idea? Why? How'd you come up with November 10th?
It was me. The November 10th date, that's Top Rank, but it was me. I thought that it would definitely rattle his cage a little bit, and definitely show, people and the fans that, hey, I'm serious about what I'm talking about. I've been very loud and boisterous and very confident, in all of my statements and all of my interviews. So it's just another one of my, statements. There will be a rematch.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks.
And as we bring you back to the MGM Grand Garden, we show you that Timothy Bradley arrived nearly an hour ago. and has been relaxing in his dressing room ever since then. Meanwhile, Manny Pacquiao is not yet in the arena. One reason for that may be that Pacquiao is an absolutely freakish basketball fan and surely has spent some time watching the Celtics Heat game before he comes over here. And it has just been reported to us that Manny is now in a limousine on his way to the arena, holding a Bible in his hands and humming and singing out loud. Now, Emanuel Stewart, I want to put you for a moment in the position of being Tim Bradley's trainer. He has gone the distance in 8 of his last 9 fights. He only has 12 knockouts in 28 fights. I'm one of those who believes that the power deficit isn't just a small power deficit, but a significant power deficit. What do you emphasize to him in a situation like that?
Well, first of all, I would say this about Manny. In this fight, Manny Pacquiao definitely is the puncher. He's a stronger puncher. I think he has better hand speed. I also think that he has the better foot speed. And what's also dangerous about Manny is when you exchange it with him, he has such great coordination that you'll be in an exchange and he'll score a knockdown, much like he did Marquez. So it's very dangerous to still exchange with him. Now, Bradley, I would give him like a B in most of those areas, but it's the inner strength of him that really neutralizes the other areas where he's not that dominant in. His strength inside, physically and mentally, is so strong, and I think at this stage that I'm concerned about the spiritual energy and the mental energy and the focus of Manny Pacquiao right now.
And if Bradley's not going to exchange with him, how does he mount on offense?
I think he just has to put a lot of pressure on Manny, but still be prepared to counterpunch and keep Manny off balance and attack after Manny has punched and got out of position.
All right, now to begin the evening's pageantry.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, on behalf of Bob Arum's Top Rank Boxing, MP Promotions, HBO Pay-Per-View, and the Nevada State Athletic Commission, we would like to send our best wishes to one of boxing's great champions who suffered a severe traffic accident this week. So our best wishes to two-time world champion Paul Williams. And also, just a few days ago, ladies and gentlemen, the world of boxing lost 2 of our finest. Mort Charnick, for almost 4 decades, was a contributor to Sports Illustrated, a journalist, and the boxing and sports coordinator for CBS Sports and Television. He just passed away. And one of the great names of boxing and one of the most entertaining and charismatic fighters ever to step into the ring over the past 15 years passed away at the age of 45. Johnny Mi Vida Loca Tapia. He's a fighter who suffered a tragic childhood but overcame that tragedy to step into a boxing ring, win 45 professional fights, and 3 times become a world champion. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we would like everyone to please remain silent as we toll a farewell and memorial count of 10 for Mort Charnick and our great Johnny Tapia. Rest in peace.
All right, so the basketball game, I'm told, has now finished, and we are ready to prepare to move forward toward the main event. However, there are new delays now because apparently both fighters were in expectation that Arce Rojas was going to go on for a while. Neither fighter is as ready to enter the ring. Well, now I'm told that Tim Bradley is ready to enter the ring. So Bradley's ready to enter the ring, but now Manny Pacquiao is not. And even more strangely, according to what I am told, Pacquiao has not been in his dressing room for the last several minutes. Freddie Roach is waiting in his dressing room to put the gloves on, and at this moment, we're not exactly aware where Manny Pacquiao is. Emanuel Stewart, what in the world do you make of that?
I really don't understand it. I think, once again, Manny is not focused enough on his fight tonight, and that's what my problem is. He needs to get his mind into this fight and not into the basketball game.
He's watching a basketball game. He's focused on a basketball game in the dressing room. And now at a moment when Tim Bradley is ready to enter the ring, once again we're told that Freddie Roach is alone in the dressing room, looking, waiting for Pacquiao to put the gloves on him. Max Kellerman, you were about to make a point to me earlier regarding the significance of Pacquiao facing Bradley amid his ongoing chess game with Floyd Mayweather over whether they're ever going to fight.
This is not a great time for Pacquiao to be distracted or anything less than his best, Jim. I believe that Tim Bradley is the most dangerous opponent that either Floyd Mayweather or Manny Pacquiao has fought since they each became pay-per-view superstars, real attractions. This guy represents the biggest obstacle, the biggest threat to actually beat one of those two guys heading into the fight. I think Manny has to be at his absolute best tonight.
Emanuel Stewart, how much of that, and I know that you feel exactly the same way Max does, that Bradley is an extremely formidable obstacle for Pacquiao and has a great chance to win the fight. How much of it goes to the fact that Bradley is an unbeaten fighter with the mentality of an unbeaten fighter and has not had the experience of losing?
Well, I think it's a lot just where he is. Bradley's a very unusually focused fighter. I think that's the word we may have to start using more tonight. Focus. He's focused, he's hungry, but surprisingly very relaxed in this situation. I think he's going to perform very well and not fight with a lot of anxieties and nervousness like some fighters and a trainer, because his trainer is also being exposed to this for the first time too. But I think he's going to fight a very controlled fight, very relaxed.
Climax of Tim Bradley's 140-pound career was a January 29, 2011 showdown at the Pontiac Silverdome with then unbeaten Devin Alexander. They were both unbeaten. This was for superiority at 140 pounds. In the early rounds, Emanuel, Bradley was clearly the more assertive fighter.
Well, you know, he's the type of a guy that places his punches very well, and it's not an easy fight for anyone. He has a little funny move. He'll do sometimes. He'll like make a move like he's punching and get in position and then make another move and punch. Therefore, it's very difficult to time him.
As the fight went on, there were a series of accidental headbutts. In round 8, yet another contact between Bradley and Alexander. And once again, Alexander stepped away, complaining about the butts, blinking his eyes, and looking as though he was uncomfortable. And then in round 10, the last time that their heads came together, and at this point, Devin Alexander simply decided that he had had enough. And it became a technical decision win for Bradley.
But Bradley's been involved in quite a few headbutts, and I really think they are accidental. I think it's just his style, the way he moves in, and he's such a short, compact guy. But the one rule that you learn in boxing, whenever you're about to collide, you try to always get your head underneath the other guy, because just as well as he's been able to be the benefactor of these cuts, he could have been the one that could have been cut himself too.
This was Bradley on November 12 on the undercard of Pacquiao versus Marquez last year. This was the first time he'd ever fought in Las Vegas, so this amounted to a dry run dress rehearsal against the practically done Joel Casamayor, and Bradley got a knockout win over Casamayor, who really at that point was not good enough or vibrant enough physically to belong in the ring with him. Now, Emanuel, we're going to take a look at a graphic which will show us the number of times in Tim Bradley's career that his fights have been marred by accidental headbutts. And you say you agree that they are all accidental, but as Roy Jones said to me a couple weeks ago, if it keeps happening, it's not necessarily an accident. And take a look at that. No contest in 3 rounds after a headbutt against Nate Campbell. Lamont Peterson got butted in the fight, but that fight went the distance. Abregu, they both got butted. That fight went the distance. And then Alexander, a series of butts, and the fight stopped due to a cut. Now, there's a psychological factor here. Bradley has created something about which all of his opponents have to worry.
Well, I think it's a psychological factor, definitely, that Freddie Roach and Manny Pacquiao are concerned about it. They've saying they've been working on certain ways to avoid it. I don't think that could happen, because Manny's the type of guy who bounces around and he lunges in when he punches. And Bradley's also said that he's concentrating on trying to not let his head get in front, which I think is a bad habit, because he may get off thinking about that and then change his style too much. I think they should let it flow and see what happens.
Well, we told you about the bizarre circumstance of Manny Pacquiao being missing from his dressing room for several minutes at this moment. Let's go to Max Kellerman with Freddie Roach.
Freddie, where's Manny right now?
Manny's down at the Studio 5 on his treadmill stretching his calves.
So they're bothering him. There was a piece on Grantland.com this week about Manny's calves. What do you know about it?
Well, the thing is we've been stretching every day on the treadmill, and it's been preventing that from happening. So we want to do it before the fight, and we're a little short on time.
Was this planned?
Yes, 100%. That's why the treadmill's there.
Why are you short on time?
Because the basketball game didn't go long enough.
Nor did it end well, according to you guys, right?
Of course.
Thanks, Freddie. Jim?
All right, so there you hear it. And Emanuel Stewart, what about Pacquiao stretching his calves at this particular point?
He should have the big advantage in the fight in terms of being a seasoned, experienced fighter with over 60 fights now, and it's looking just opposite. He's acting like a more inexperienced fighter in preparation, or either just his focus is not there. But whatever he's doing, physically or spiritually or mentally, he should have been into it earlier than this. And he knew the way the game was going, so he knew the game was going to be over with soon. So it's not good and it's not professional.
Tightness in the calves is exactly the condition about which Pacquiao complained after his subpar performance against Juan Manuel Marquez last November here in Las Vegas. Let's take a look at highlights from that fight. In the early rounds, Pacquiao was more active, but Marquez was landing that solid right-hand counterpunch and another variety of punches, including left uppercuts, left hooks, to stay with Pacquiao through the early and middle rounds. And in the late rounds, it was only when Marquez took his foot off the gas that Pacquiao was able to win the last few rounds on most of the scorecards and create a margin that won him the fight.
Well, when you look at all of the years that this man has been fighting, meaning miles and miles, hundreds, thousands of miles of running, and then I understand that even after training, the way he trains very hard, he would go out and play sometimes 3 hours of basketball on the same day that he's trained. So maybe the wear and tear is starting to take its effect on his legs.
All right, we're still waiting to hear when Manny Pacquiao will return to his dressing room. And now at this point, Tim Bradley is ready to come to the ring, and he has to wait and he doesn't know how long he's going to have to wait as the Pacquiao situation clears itself up. How big a distraction is that to Bradley?
He'll be okay. I'm quite sure he's excited about getting a chance to fight for the championship of the world. So he'll be all right.
All right, Max is with Timothy Bradley. Let's go to that interview.
Tim, Freddie Roach just told me that you're waiting right now because Manny has to stretch his calves on a treadmill because the basketball game just ended, so they were a little pressed for time. You have to wait even more. How do you feel about that?
Ain't don't bother me at all. Made me wait all night, but we still got to get it on some point in time. So we here, we warm, we ready to go.
This is part of, I suppose, of the distractions of fighting in a big super fight. You're being interviewed in your locker room right before the fight. Pacquiao's not ready. You can't get into the ring yet. What do you think about all of that?
I don't even think about it. Don't bother me at all. You know, nothing can get to me right now. I'm focused. You know, when they say, hey, time to go, it's time to go. So I'm here. I'm waiting patiently.
Really quickly, what is on your mind right now? What are your actual thoughts? We saw you in a little prayer group with your team just now. What are you thinking about?
Just doing what we destined out to do. You know what I mean? This is all God's plan, and we definitely finna shock the world tonight.
Thanks, champ. Jim?
All right, so Tim Bradley says, no problem, I'm fine. Is there any such thing as having the gloves on too long?
Yeah, you can. And sometimes you can work out too long. I had one fighter who worked out so intensely in the dressing room that after the third round of the fight, he was totally exhausted. He worked out too much. And normally, like in the dressing room when I'm training with Lamont and Crisco, we'll put on everything timed in a timely manner. Maybe the hand wrappers were complete about maybe 40 minutes at the most before the fight is scheduled, walkout time at least. And then after that, we'll work on the pass maybe for about 40 seconds and just stop and walk away. Maybe come back maybe 2 or 3 minutes, do it again. Just enough for him to get a sweat, keep his muscles loose, but not to really extend his muscles and get tired. It's very important that you mentally and physically prepare without overtraining or getting too emotional before the fight and get too pent up. Bradley seems to be in a good state of mind right now. And the problem is with Manny and Freddie coming out all stressed out, time pressed, it's not good because I've did that before. You don't come in with a good, comfortable state of mind.
You need only have watched a little bit of live television in your life to know that we're filling here. Why are we filling? We're filling because, number one, the condition was established that the main event wasn't going to start until the professional basketball playoff game was over. Number two, there was a shockingly quick end to the Arce versus Rojas fight because of the strange incident that took place at the very beginning of the second round. And number 3, Manny Pacquiao has disappeared from his dressing room to go and try to stretch his calf muscles on a treadmill. All of these are unusual circumstances prior to a major pay-per-view fight like this. Now, we told you about Timothy Bradley's penchant for accidental headbutts, and we showed you the history of that in graphic. The fascinating corollary is that Manny Pacquiao has been butted a few times and has been cut and bloodied, and sometimes it has definitely bothered him. Now, here's a look against Agapito Sanchez in San Francisco very early in Pacquiao's American tour of duty. This may have only been his second fight in the United States after the victory over Ledwaba, and he had absolutely the dickens of a time with Sanchez because of accidental headbutts, among other fouls. Now here, his only loss on American soil in 2005 against Eric Morales. In the middle stages of the fight, an accidental headbutt brought blood from the brow of Manny Pacquiao. It streamed down his face for the rest of the fight. And Emanuel Stewart, there's absolutely no question in my mind that was a big factor in the loss.
That was a big factor in the loss because Manny really doesn't handle feeling and seeing his own blood that well. It takes time for him to adjust after that. And that's because a lot of his style, the way he's fighting from the southpaw position, the right side of his face is what is the closest to his opponent, and he has a tendency to bounce in when he punches. He doesn't move in smoothly. He takes a big step, particularly when he's throwing that powerful, hard, straight left hand of his.
This one was against a lesser opponent, Jorge Solis in Texas, and Pacquiao was able, shortly after the headbutt, to take Solis out. But this one took place last fall in the 10th round of his fight with Juan Manuel Marquez. And so the bottom line is that after repeated butts which have brought blood, there's considerable scar tissue around and particularly above Manny Pacquiao's eyes. And that was Manny Pacquiao's history with regard to headbutts. We're going to turn to Harold Letterman now and talk about the referee and judges for the main event. So, Harold, we're going to show you the graphics, show us who the referee and the judges are, and you run down their personal biographies in terms of how they affect the fight for us.
Okay, Jim.
Thank you.
Well, Jim, Robert Byrd is a very, very experienced referee. I mean, he's as good as you can get in Nevada. You know, you see a list of the fights that he's worked. I have no problem whatsoever with Robert Byrd.
Harold, this is the biggest assignment of his career, and quite an honor for him tonight.
He's ready. The man is ready for it. Now, Dwayne Ford, he's the dean of boxing judges. He teaches all the courses that boxing judges take in Nevada and among the sanctioning bodies. So you can't get a better recommendation. I don't think we could get a better judge anywhere. Dwayne Ford is solid. C.J. Ross, questionable. She's been in a lot of fights where, you know, she's come up with a draw. I think she may get swayed by the crowd. I'm really worried about that. You know, it's a Pacquiao crowd. If the fight goes 12, I think the crowd could influence the judges, and I'm worried about moving C.J. Ross, you know, a relatively mediocre judge, into a high-profile fight like this. This is the scary one. Jerry Roth, he's ready, but he blew Richard Abril and Brandon Rios. He may be shook up over it. I wouldn't throw him back into a major fight at this point, but the guy's been judging for years.
Harold, let me make one big point. 8 of Timothy Bradley's last 9 fights have gone the distance. All of Manny Pacquiao's last 4 fights have gone the distance. Given the likelihood that this fight goes 12 rounds, isn't it incumbent on the Nevada State Athletic Commission to put together the best possible judging panel for the fight?
Jim, there's no doubt about it. I mean, in my opinion, they should have brought in a judge or two. Without question, I'd much rather see a Joe Pasquale, a Julie Letterman, a Steve Weisfeld, or any of the other good judges we've worked with over the years. There's no doubt that the body should have brought in at least one judge.
All right, let's go to Max Kellerman for more from the dressing room area.
According to Alex Ariza, the strength and conditioning coach, of course, for Manny Pacquiao, another 4 minutes before he's going to come down to get gloved. He's already wrapped I was told that about 2 minutes ago, so maybe another 2 minutes. I asked Keith Kaiser of the Nevada State Athletic Commission, how does this work? Is this up to the promoter? Does the State Athletic Commission have some say here? He said, yeah, it's a judgment call, and the Athletic Commission does have some say here, and if what the promoter is asking for is reasonable, then that can be accommodated. And in this case, we all know who the money man here is, who everyone shows up to see. That's Manny Pacquiao, and if he wants to watch the end of the Heat-Celtics game and then put his gloves on, and if that backs things up because he has to loosen up his calves, he's going to have that luxury. Jim?
All right, thank you very much, Max. There's another look at Timothy Bradley. He's the one who is ready and in command of all of his circumstances at this point, and he is waiting for Manny Pacquiao. And Emmanuel, Max mentioned Alex Ariza, the physical trainer for Manny Pacquiao, and we've seen Ariza and his work with Amir Khan and Pacquiao and several of Freddie Roach's fighters over the years. Ariza was a controversy himself coming into the fight, at one point leaving the Philippines, and he infuriated Freddie Roach. Freddie Roach only a few days ago agreed to allow Ariza back on the team. Now, tell us about Freddie's bio as a trainer and what he's done for Pacquiao's career.
That's interesting because Ariza has been just as much publicity in recent years almost as Freddie. Well, Freddie Roach is one of the few trainers who really has paid his dues. First of all, he was a good amateur boxer himself. The first time I met him was in 1975 in a national tournament where Ray Leonard and a lot of the talent and Aaron Pryor was at, and he was fighting at 106 pounds. And he fought one of my fighters, John O'Neill. I call him my two little Irish midgets. I used to nickname him, and they fought twice, I think, in a few months. But he paid his dues as an amateur fighter, then as a professional fighter. Even though he didn't become a world champion, he fought a lot of great classical fights on the club level. And then he worked his apprenticeship with one of the greatest trainers of all time, Eddie Futch. And then from that, he went into training his own fighters. So he has paid his dues all the way from a boxer all the way up to being a trainer, and works extremely hard too, and enjoys what he's doing also. So he's thoroughly qualified to be a top trainer. And on the other hand, the trainer that we have, Joe Diaz, comes from a boxing family. The Diaz family is from Indio, California, who I've known for years. Lots of good fighters come out of there. He was a former lightweight contender. And he's trained Bradley ever since he turned professional. I remember when Timothy at the end of '84, I think, she was always quietly with him, never got any recognition, but this is a big fight for him, and seemingly he is just as cool and relaxed and calm as if he was a veteran trainer.
And let's go to Max Kellerman with Joel Diaz right now.
Joel, how do you feel about the fact that Manny Pacquiao is being accommodated right now, being given extra time to loosen up his calves?
That's okay. Doesn't bother us, like you heard Tim. We're here. I mean, we waited longer. I mean, we waited. We went to 2.5 months of training camp. So I mean, a little more waiting doesn't hurt us, and it's not gonna distract us. We're ready. Whenever he's ready, we're ready.
Tim is pacing back and forth like a caged tiger, like he's ready to pounce. What are you trying to keep him loose? What are you doing here for him? No,
he's loose already. He's loose, and mentally he's calm. He's just, we were ready for stuff like this, so it doesn't bother us. If he wants to wait 2 hours, 3 hours, we'll be waiting for him. So whenever he's ready.
Thanks, Joel. Jim?
All right, one more question about Freddie Roach. He is regarded, along with you, as being one of the top 2 hired gun trainers in the sport. And what is meant by that is that quite often you are taking over the careers of fighters who are already in mid-career. And by the way, I need to interrupt this question to tell you that Manny Pacquiao is arriving back in his dressing room, and this is a live look right now. Pacquiao walking down the hall with officials and others as he comes back toward the dressing room, and at this point we assume he'll be ready to put on the gloves and come into the ring and fight. So that one particular interlude is over with. Who knows what will happen next? And now let's go back to the question I was asking you. Freddie Roach is regarded with you as one of the top 2 hired gun trainers in the sport, and by hired guns I mean that you're often brought in to take over a fighter who is in the middle of his career and needs either a new wrinkle or better instruction or something that improves his game. The essence of that, it seems to me, is that you have to work with whatever existing style the fighter already has. Is that true?
That's true, and I think, but of all the fighters trainers work there, this is his signature fighter. Manny Pacquiao and he have a great chemistry. At this stage, he hasn't did any great miracles with any other fighters yet. But Manny's his signature fighter. He changed Manny from being basically a straight left-hand power puncher to being a balanced-out fighter, the right hook, the movements and whatnot. It's just a great chemistry that has worked. And Freddie works all the time, as I say, almost 24/7. I couldn't go to a gym at 7:30 in the morning and leave out at 7:30 at night. I would lose my creativity, but Freddie does that.
All right, we're told that Robert Byrd is getting referees' instructions to Manny Pacquiao right now in Pacquiao's dressing room, and there's a look, and let's join it.
It's okay with me, but you have a responsibility to me to show me that you are willing and capable of taking care of yourself. If you can do that, I'll let you fight. If you can't do that, I'm gonna take care of you, okay? When the bell sounds, the round is over, so no hitting after the bell, all right? We have 2 mouthpieces, Freddie?
Yes, sir.
Okay. If the mouthpiece comes out, continue to fight, because I'm gonna wait for a lull. When that lull comes, I'm gonna bring him over, Freddie. Second mouthpiece already washed off, slide it in, no coaching, no instruction.
Yes, is this no 3 knockdown rolls?
No. Okay. Any other questions, concerns, issues?
Yeah,
he comes to his head quite a bit. Be careful. Can you watch out for us, please?
Your concerns have been noted.
Okay, because he comes in low and we're going to hold him off. But his head prevent his head from coming up. I don't really points taken away for pushing us anything foolish like that.
Okay, your concerns, again, your concerns have been noted.
Thank you very much. Holding him, keep on punching.
Okay, if you're in close and you have a hand free, you can use that hand as long as you keep your punches in the front. Okay?
How about like this hand in?
No, if you're tied up here, okay? All right? Any other questions, concerns? Let's talk about it now. So when we get out there, it's time to go.
Exactly.
Any other questions, any other concerns?
Yes, sir, we're ready.
Ready.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right, good luck. Good luck and congrats.
And meanwhile, down the hall, Tim Bradley beginning to develop a sweat, and that is his dad, Big Ray Bradley, who is facing up to him in what amounts to a shadowboxing exercise. Why no mitts, Emmanuel?
I'm a little slightly surprised at it. I guess he works a bitch with probably Diaz. They may have had their workout already, but I think he's been trying to time himself where he won't overexert himself too much, knowing that he's going to be waiting around. So they're just moving around, if you know it, in slow motion, back and forth. There's no intensity to that workout that they're having there at all.
Let's turn to what has been, for whatever reason, the central topic, it seems, this week. And I want to set this up by saying there are no shortage of devout evangelical Christians among top boxers. There are dozens of practicing Roman Catholics among top boxers. There's at least one very devout Muslim who prays 5 times a day. Some of them are hypocrites. A lot of them are totally the real thing. Why all the furor about Pacquiao's sudden turn to religion?
Well, first of all, it's hard for me to say anyone about religion, because they say, wow, he's talking about the man's religion. You can't do that, because it's better to see him now than what he was. As he said, he was gambling and drinking and doing so many other things, and he's back with his family. But it's to the point where it's obsessing and almost controls his mind. It's like dominating his thoughts. I mean, everywhere he goes, you see, Bradley said he talks about God, going to church, but it's not the way that Manny is, like dominating everything that's coming out of Manny's mouth and his mind, and that's what has got to be a serious concern for anyone, especially when you're dealing with him being an athlete and you're involved with him from that viewpoint.
Well, let's leave aside religion then and turn to just the secular version of this question. Could it be that Manny Pacquiao's just had, when you consider all of his life, too much success, too much adulation, too much wealth, too much attention, too much of the Philippines riding on his back? Could it be that he's simply, in some inner way, done with all that?
I think so, to some degree, and I think just getting himself with God now and finding a peaceful place in his life is what really is important to him right now. And especially he's did so much, and I was just reading on the plane coming here. He owns a very successful television show, I think, much like The Price is Right, which not only is he owns the show or whatever, but he's the MC of the show. And in addition to his political job, which he takes extremely serious as a congressman, and he's trying to help everyone in this country, now he's got the religious aspect that he's into, and then his love for basketball, as we just saw. I'm just wondering, where is all of his mental and spiritual energy? I think it's all over the place now. And I don't know if that's good for a person who's trying to be a top athlete.
Freddie Roach, who's quite candid about these kinds of things, has openly said, the 11-year evolution with Pacquiao is quite demonstrable, in the sense that at first he was my pupil and I was his teacher. Then we became professional colleagues and behaved more or less as equals, and now abundantly clearly, I work for Manny Pacquiao. And that is a big change over an 11-year period. It hasn't seemed to affect Pacquiao before, but it's part of the reason that he is who he is.
Yeah, you know, and I forgot to talk about all these endorsements, as you mentioned, his commercials, and everyone is singing a big multi-million-dollar deals here and then. All of that's on his mind. But you're right, the relationship with Freddie and him is still good and solid, but the roles have slightly changed a little bit, which is only normal when a person becomes as big and as powerful as he has become, I would say, politically and financially.
All right, now we've been joined by Max Kellerman, rejoined at ringside by Max Kellerman, and while we're still watching what's going on in Pacquiao's dressing room, now that you've been there in both dressing rooms and felt the atmosphere and seen the body language, what new conclusions have you drawn?
I feel the same way I did earlier. Tim Bradley, this is a timing fight. Tim Bradley is entering his probably absolute prime at this moment. He looks like he's never been in better shape, and he's always in great shape. He's behaving patiently, but of course anxiously. He says he's waited this long, what's another, and Joel Diaz, what's another few minutes? But he is pacing like a caged tiger, as I mentioned, and clearly ready for this moment, in my view, Jim.
As we continue to discuss body language, Max, let's take a look at what happened at yesterday's weigh-in. So we'll cut away from the live here just for a moment and give you a taped look at what happened at the weigh-in. Again, there were more than 5,000 people in the arena. Filipino fans waited more than 6 hours to get in. Bradley was shredded. What an amazing body. That should certainly draw some to the notion that being a vegan can make you exceptionally strong. Pacquiao looked pretty good, but that body is not as ripped as Tim Bradley's was.
Nor is it as ripped as his usually is. They stare down here, and you see Pacquiao's trying to return the stare. Bradley's mean-mugging him, and Pacquiao smiles. Now, maybe I'm reading too much into it, Jim, and maybe it's because Pacquiao's been there a million times and Bradley never has, but Pacquiao broke the tension with a smile. Bradley retained his scowl.
And here you see a graphic, weights at the weigh-in for recent Manny Pacquiao fights, his highest weight ever. Yesterday, 147 pounds for Bradley. Consider that when he fought Antonio Margarito at 154 pounds, he weighed in 9.5 pounds under the limit at 144.5. Even still under the limit at 145 3/4 when he was fighting Joshua Clottey. Do you make anything, Emmanuel, of the fact that is he just filling out more into a welterweight body, or does this mean under-conditioned?
No, I think he's filling out into a welterweight's body down. And probably, I even know he may not be training with the intensity that he has in the past. If his training intensity equals what we're seeing here in his preparation to go into the fight, it doesn't look that good.
Now, you see this, Emmanuel, the two gloves being put on by two different parties. He's being double-gloved, in effect. Both gloves going on at the same time, two separate people doing it.
Well, that's because of the
uncommon?
time. That's because, no, it's uncommon, but they have a time problem right here. They're fighting against the clock. And after they get through with the hand wrap, if you notice, someone from the boxing commissioner does those little fancy initials and marks. That's to make sure that no one can alter or change those hand wraps at all. If they do that, the handwriting and stuff will be off. So that's where they make sure.
Freddie Roach has told our Freddie Roach has told our engineers in the dressing room that as soon as Pacquiao's gloves are fully wrapped, he will be ready to go. And obviously, they're getting very close to that right now.
Which means he won't have any warm-up time of punching on the pads, which is the normal tradition.
Which means he might come to the ring dry, which is yet another unusual circumstance, Max.
And as Larry Merchant is wont to say, Jim, the theater of the unexpected, you can call a million fights, watch a billion, you'll see something new every time.
Jinky Pacquiao, Manny's wife, whom you see behind Boo Boy Fernandez there in the shot, was not in Pacquiao's dressing room at this moment prior to his fight with Juan Manuel Marquez. And this prayer, taking place at this moment, signifies that it is almost time for the fight. That is the benedictory we are about to leave prayer for Manny Pacquiao. Let's go to Michael Buffer in the ring to begin the anthems.
Ladies and gentlemen, your attention, please. Now from the MGM Grand, we would like everyone to rise and remain silent as we honor champion and challenger with their respective national anthems. First, here to sing the national anthems for the Philippines, please welcome Kirby Asunto.
Bayang magiliw, perlas ng silanganan, alab ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, duyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka pasisiil, sa dagat at puntok, sa simoy at sa langit mong bughaw. May dilag ang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal, ang kislap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nagniningning, ang bituin at araw niya kailan, pag may di magdidilim, lupa ng araw na luwalhatit pagsinta, buhay ay langit sa piling mo. Aming ligaya na pag may mang-aapi, ang mamatay ng dahil sa'yo.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, behind me we have the color guard, our heroes from the Nellis Air Force Base, right here outside of Nevada. And with dedication to all the men and women now serving in the armed forces in harm's way, we dedicate the national anthem to them. And here, from season 11 of American Idol, soon joining her top 10 finalists on the Summer's AI Live National Tour, here to sing the national anthem, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jessica Sanchez.
Oh, sing, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight of the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof to the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Hail of the tape for Manny Pacquiao and Tim Bradley. You see the 5-year age advantage for the fighter called Desert Storm. Half-inch height advantage for Pacquiao. Arm length advantage of 1 inch for the Filipino star. The weigh-in weight of 147 for Pacquiao, the highest of his career. Bradley was 1 pound under at 146. It's only Bradley's second appearance at welterweight in recent years, but he fought at welterweight several times, back toward the beginning of his professional career. Tonight, unofficially, Bradley's gone up only 1 pound to 147. Pacquiao has gone up to 150. It's quite unusual in both instances that they only put on 1 and 3 pounds overnight. First to the ring, Timothy Bradley.
Every single fight I go into, I say, I'm gonna beat this guy. I'm gonna beat this guy.
Bradley takes and gives no quarter. He fights and fights and fights.
I'm the number 1 fighter at 140 pounds. About to be the number 1 fighter at 147.
I'm the best. I'm the best. You gotta prove to me you better than me. You ain't better than me. There you go.
It's not about the money. It's about that spot. I want his spot. I want the throne. And I always get what I want.
Timothy Bradley, unbeaten, only 12 knockouts in his 28 wins. If there's a significant deficit, it would be the punching power. But it's the strength of his mind that those who support him are pointing to in anticipation of a big performance tonight. Let's take a look at Bradley's last 2 fights. His unification showdown a year and a half ago in Pontiac, Michigan against Devin Alexander. He just appeared that night more willing and more ready to fight than the opponent.
Bradley is just such a strong, determined guy and very difficult to time in terms of his attack. Very smart, very misleading.
Devin Alexander is more talented than Tim Bradley. But Tim Bradley wants it more, wanted it more that night than Devin Alexander. And those picking Bradley, and there are plenty of them in the press, believe that he wants it more than Pacquiao tonight.
Now Bradley, before fighting Joel Casamayor on the undercard of Pacquiao Marquez last fall, had never had a fight in Las Vegas. So this was important as a dry run, a rehearsal on a pay-per-view card, an appearance in the MGM Grand Garden ring, and he has a 1-0 record in Vegas coming into the bout. Casamayor wasn't really a viable opponent, so Emmanuel, he hasn't been facing live ammunition for 18 months.
No, and even before that, you know, he hasn't been in with this type of a fight that he's going to be in, but I think he'll be very prepared for it. One of those very unique individuals. I always refer to him having the mindset of a marvelous Marvin Hagler. Chip on his shoulder, very well protected, got that destructive, destroyer type mindset, but I think it will work very well for him tonight.
Some fighters, when they enter the ring, wonder, did they do enough? Are they prepared? Tim Bradley never has to enter the ring wondering, did he do enough? He always does as much as he possibly can.
They have built a new structure which dramatizes the hallway from the dressing area into the ring. The view that Bradley is looking at is a new one now in this arena. And frankly, there's no other entrance in boxing quite like this. If he wondered what the atmosphere of a big fight was going to be, he's about to feel it very graphically in the next several seconds.
Count me
into this, it looks like to me, Jim.
Nothing wrong with being tightly wound coming into a
I
fight
agree,
like
you
this,
know,
right?
especially like it don't come in too relaxed, and particularly going against a guy like Manny, who's a very fast starter. So I like his mental state of mind. I think he's wound up just enough, which he needs to be, but still relaxed.
Max, would you agree with that?
I agree. I think this is a guy who is primed for this moment. It would be hard for me to imagine a guy who's done more to prepare himself the right way.
There is indeed a surprising media groundswell. Quite a number of expert ringside reporters sitting behind us who have changed their opinions within the past week, from thinking that Pacquiao should justifiably be a solid favorite in the fight to thinking that this is either a pick'em fight or an extremely dangerous spot for Manny Pacquiao, or even a fight in which maybe Bradley has the upper hand. And now here comes boxing's third world emperor, Manny Pacquiao.
Pacquiao's hands are blindingly fast. This is the brilliance of the Filipino slugger.
We thought Manny Pacquiao was great. He's better than we thought.
When I go into the ring, I have to perform and to make people happy.
Clearly in the hearts of fans who love exciting boxing, Manny Pacquiao is #1 in the world.
Tim Bradley is undefeated. He's strong and he's fast also, but I believe that I'm faster and stronger than him. I train hard and I prepared spiritually and physically and mentally.
And incidentally, among all the many things Manny Pacquiao has accomplished in his career, one other noteworthy element we haven't discussed, but which you've looked at many times tonight. When first he came to the United States 11 years ago, he didn't speak a word of English.
He's did an amazing job of developing his whole personality. You know, been very warm with people with his natural, I guess, personality. Learned to speak English, much like Miguel Cotto. In fact, most of the fighters now from foreign countries are one out of their way to speak English very good.
Sergio Martinez working
Sergio
on it now.
Martinez, yes.
Cotto has done it. Pacquiao has done it. It's a tremendous step forward for foreign fighters in this country.
And for those who like Pacquiao by spectacular win and think the wide odds are justified, in the arena, they were playing Pacquiao highlights. You just saw it on HBO pay-per-view Pacquiao highlights. Tim Bradley's highlights were ordinary fighter highlights. Pacquiao's highlights are superstar highlights, extraordinary highlights, once-in-a-generation highlights.
Let's go to Michael Buffer for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, from the MGM Grand of Las Vegas, Nevada, USA, Bob Arum's Top Rank Boxing and MP Promotions are proud to present the main event of the evening. 12 rounds of boxing for the WBO Welterweight Championship of the World. Sponsored by AT&T, Rethink Possible, Tecate con Carácter, and Smart Communications of the Philippines. Sanctioned by the Nevada State Athletic Commission, Chairman Francisco Aguilar, Executive Director Keith Kaiser, and the World Boxing Organization President Francisco Paco Barcarcel. At ringside, the three judges scoring will be Dwayne Ford, CJ Ross, and Jerry Roth. And inside the ring, in charge of the action at the bell, referee Robert Bird. And now, the officials are ready, the fighters are ready. For the thousands in attendance, and courtesy of HBO pay-per-view, the millions watching around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Fighting out of the blue corner, with head trainer Joel Diaz wearing black with white, official weight 146 pounds. His professional record, 28 victories, including 12 knockouts with 1 no contest. He is the fighting pride of Palm Springs, California, the challenger, the current undefeated light welterweight champion of the world, Timothy Desert Storm Bradley. And fighting out of the red corner with his head trainer, Hall of Famer Freddie Roach, wearing blue with red, officially weighing in at 147 pounds. His professional record, 54 victories, including 38 knockouts with 3 defeats and 2 draws. And he is undefeated for the last 7 straight years. From Sarangani Province, Philippines, the 8-time world champion and reigning, defending WBO welterweight champion of the world, Manny Pacquiao.
Gentlemen, you had your instructions in the dressing room. And I'll remind you of now, this is very important. When I tell you stop, what that means is stop whatever you're doing, give me a clean break. Protect yourself at all times, obey my commands all the time. Both of you gentlemen are world-class, championship caliber professionals. I expect you to act that way. Mr. Pacquiao, Mr. Bradley, let's do this.
No, all right. One night, this incredible ride that Pacquiao's taken us all on, this devastating unbeaten streak in the heavier weight classes will come to an end. Can Tim Bradley make tonight that night?
Robert Byrd signals the official time. Keeper the bell sounds. Round 1 begins. All eyes on Pacquiao to see if he's ready for the fight or if he has been diminished by his personal transformation, as so many seem to be thinking is the case. Body shot for Pacquiao.
Freddie Roach predicted that Manny Pacquiao would not lose a round. He would win every round. I think it was a bad prediction then. I think it's even worse now as I look at it, because Bradley is making Manny punch and try to get him off balance after Manny throws his left hand and trying to counter punch. It's a very tough competitive fight at this stage.
Emmanuel, don't you think that Freddie's dialogue about winning every round is a way of urging his fighter to be ahead on the scorecards if, in fact, an accidental butt happens and they have to stop the fight?
No, I think Freddie really believes that. He said that he would dominate Marquez the last fight very easily.
Oh, that's true. He predicted he would knock Marquez down 6 times, and that was a faulty prediction as well.
Pacquiao, of course, not only has the hand speed, but devastating punching power that can equalize just about anything Bradley can do at any moment.
And, you know, he still, to me, is amazing. I have so much respect for him. He's really carried this sport to me for the last 8 years. He's been a dominant fighter that kept boxing in the headlines and never has dodged anyone. Has never even taken a retirement, a break off. He's fought everyone from 22 to 54.
And he's losing this round, the first of the fight.
What makes you say that, Max?
The times that I've seen a fighter clipped, it was Manny, except for one punch to the body that I thought Manny landed fairly cleanly.
What?
Minute 15 still to go in the round. Bradley's guard was up. This is once again a conventional fighter against a southpaw, so look at the straight left hand down the pipe by Pacquiao and the straight right hand down the pipe by Bradley. More difficult in this instance to land their jabs, or at least that's the conventional wisdom. Bradley with a body shot under Pacquiao's left elbow. And another body shot there. Pacquiao lands his jab. Notoriously inaccurate with the jab.
He's getting out of it. But every time Manny throws his left hand, you watch he's getting out of balance. His left foot is coming out of balance. And that's what Bradley's planning on. He's taking time, timing him. Every time he comes in.
Watch the difficulty to see.
Every time he throws it, he's out of position after that. He's counter punching him.
Pacquiao so dangerous in exchanges. Even when the other guy seems to have the upper hand, he can put you on your butt in an eye blink. And at the moment, Bradley.
Hard left hand by Best punch of the round so far. Gets another straight left hand onto Bradley's jaw. Two big pops for Pacquiao.
They're the best punches of the fight. He's won
By
the round
far.
just off
And
of that.
another straight left hand. I told you to watch for the straight left hand. He landed 3 booms in the last 30 seconds.
And he won that round.
And won the round.
Yeah.
Come on, short. You can do this. You can do this all night. You win the fight. Throw him out. Okay. Every time he takes a step forward, you slide back. He's falling short every time. You're blocking the left. Really good. Okay. When he gets a little aggressive, all you have to do is get your angles, champ. Get your fucking angles. You got it?
Hey, good job, Tim. Go to that body too, okay? Go to that body over.
Every time.
We need speed. We don't need the long power.
Left hand, you can make it hard from
He's young. Pagbitaw mo baga, Brad. Pagbitaw mo ng straight. Short lang. Pagbitaw
Well,
ng
do it
straight.
for a short straight.
Maiksi, labas. Wah.
Then move back.
Ang bagal ng kalaban. Ang bagal
He's slow. He's slow.
Kunin mo
You ever see Manny land a straight left hand? Bradley didn't get back far enough. He was pulling out of range. Here he comes again, the same almost identical punch, the same way.
That was the punch that launched Manny Pacquiao's brilliant career, the straight left hand, and it bailed him out in a round that it appeared he was not winning. He landed 3 of them in the last 30 seconds. CompuBox numbers in round 1, Pacquiao 11 of 42, Bradley 10 of 78. Interesting that Bradley threw 36 more punches than Pacquiao in the first round by CompuBox count.
I'm not sure those punches won the round for Pacquiao. They may have.
Another hard left hand by Pacquiao.
And Bradley has been open for straight lefts. That's his Achilles heel. And that's maybe Pacquiao's best punch. There it is again.
Body shots by Bradley. Pacquiao blocks the upstairs stuff. Bradley goes back downstairs and hammers to the ribcage.
But there
over and over.
And you're seeing the metal that got Bradley to this point. When he gets hit and hurt, he comes back.
Crowd didn't like the fact that Bradley had his left arm clamped over Pacquiao's right arm, and Robert Byrd didn't break that.
I was really surprised that Byrd didn't catch it, and he held on to his head a long time.
Indeed. Bradley was holding and hitting. There's another good left hand by Pacquiao. This time he swept it to get it around Bradley's guard.
Bradley did a little better job at that time of getting his glove in the way, but he better do a better job than that as this fight goes on. Because the difference so far has been Pacquiao can hurt Bradley. Bradley doesn't seem to be able to return the favor.
Well, we mentioned the difference in punching power, obvious from the fight statistics coming in. Pacquiao's been landing in straight left. I haven't seen Bradley try to retaliate with a straight right. There it is. And he lands one as he drives Pacquiao against the ropes. Pay-per-view main events in Nevada normally begin at 8 p.m. local time or shortly thereafter. This fight did not begin until 10 minutes after 9 o'clock. Why the delay? Number one, a decision not to start the fight until a professional basketball playoff game had ended. And then the bizarre circumstance of Manny Pacquiao for a lengthy period of time being out of his dressing room, without his gloves on, down the hall, on a treadmill, trying to get his calves to loosen up. Another left hand for Pacquiao.
You see Pacquiao's superior firepower, but in the face of that, you see what Andre Ward, super middleweight champion, told me earlier today, which is that out of over 100 amateur fights and all his pro fights, Tim Bradley was as tough an opponent, they met in the amateurs, as he's ever faced. As tough an opponent.
And that was at 147 when they fought.
He keeps coming.
One of the celebrities at ringside tonight, Reggie Bush, Miami Dolphins running back. You'll be watching him on Hard Knocks when it returns toward the end of the summer on HBO. And Reggie's Dolphins are the subject. 5 weeks, beginning August 7, Hard Knocks.
Okay, Brad.
Everybody around Reggie
Take it easy.
happy that they got to be on TV.
Alam niya straight ka. I-delay mo ng konti, ibabagal mo konti.
Take it easy. Not too much. He knows you're gonna go for the straight. Time it up. Time it up.
In and out. 1, 2, out, bang. Main event isn't coming.
In and out, 1, 2.
He's gonna follow you wherever you go.
1, 2. Tulak ng konti. Atras ng konti.
CompuBox numbers in the second round. Pacquiao only threw 37 punches, but landed half of them, 18. Bradley, 15 of 72. Pacquiao, 12 of 19 power shots. Bradley still has not demonstrated that he can stop Manny Pacquiao's straight left hand. Straight right hand by Bradley landed to the body. Pacquiao nods and smiles at it.
I already get the sense that Pacquiao's going to have to separate Bradley from his senses to stop him from coming, and maybe he'll do it. But Bradley keeps coming, Jim.
Crowd is heavily favoring Manny Pacquiao. The chant you hear is Manny, Manny, Manny. There aren't enough Bradley fans here to mount a Bradley, Bradley, Bradley that would compete with that. Straight left hand lands for Pacquiao again. This time below the chin. Good left for Tim Bradley.
Bradley, he don't have the power. Manny has much more power, but the main thing is Bradley's got to find a way to neutralize that one punch. That's all, mainly the left hand.
That's right, because Pacquiao isn't getting much done.
Not much.
With his jab or his hook. The straight left hand has been everything for him.
Everything, and he's really focusing on landing that. But he has enough power that he can catch up ahead of anything that he's behind on simply by that one punch. Plus, in the fight.
And Bradley said he was concentrating on taking the left hand away from Pacquiao.
And he hasn't done it. That was another straight left hand on the chin.
Well, Manny is, you can almost predict in the head position of Bradley now. He's shooting the punches right where he thinks Bradley's going to move his head at, which is bending slightly to his right.
He's
to
trying.
Bradley's right.
Bradley's trying to neutralize it, but as many Pacquiao opponents find, there's really no way to prepare for his suddenness and his speed.
And as he ages, his timing. He's added timing to the arsenal.
Stop, I got you. Stop.
Because he just doesn't throw as many punches as he used to. So he's not quite as dynamic. Body shot by Bradley and a good one.
If Bradley can survive these early and middle rounds, he'd be wise to put in that work to the body now so he can test Pacquiao's conditioning late in the fight if he gets there.
Bradley has never been able to land too much of a solid blow. I mean, he throws punches back, they're return punches, but they're not landing with their factors, except for a few right hands to the body, the way that Manny's punches there. See there, the little fast punches, but no power.
Pacquiao's punches move Bradley. That's a difference.
That's the difference.
It is so far.
Bradley tried to duck. Pacquiao got him on the top of the head with the left hand. Right hand landed for Pacquiao that time. Bradley gets him back with a left hook. Pacquiao gets him with a straight left. And the way Bradley put his tongue out and mugged, you know that Pacquiao is bothering him with a straight left hand.
But there Bradley is throwing back at the end of the round.
He's gonna tighten up. The more he throws, the more he misses. He's gonna tighten up. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath.
How you feel, Tim?
Hey, you're executing that fucking left really nice. I want you to keep doing that. Every time he shoots that left, I want you to lean down, but come up with something, baby. You know how it is. This fucking guy has a name. If you go the distance, you need to put up the extra work, man. You're doing really good. You're dominating his ass, but I need you to put a little more work on your combinations. That jab has to be doubled. Hey, followed up by the straight right down the middle. Okay, and we need to work the body a little more.
Right there.
A night time in Vegas. High drama in the ring. Manny Pacquiao's landing nearly 40% of his punches. In round 3, he was 21 of 50. That's the highest number of punches he's thrown in the fight. Bradley was 13 of 65. Harold, how do you have it through 3?
Okay, Jim, I've got it 3 rounds to nothing, 30-27, Manny Pacquiao. Jim, let me tell you something that I've observed in this fight, and that is Timothy Bradley doesn't move his head. And when you stand in front of Manny Pacquiao and your head is straight up in the air like that, just like you see now, Manny can't miss it with the left hand. Watch Pacquiao's head. Pacquiao bobs, he weaves, he's always moving his head, never stops moving his head. Bradley puts his head straight up, leaves it there, Pacquiao nails him with a left. 3-0, Manny Pacquiao.
And when Bradley does move his head, he dips it down, he comes up with his head. And referee Robert Bird just said none of that.
Pacquiao trying uppercuts with the left hand. Now comes across the top, lands it again. Gets in a little left inside. Bradley trying to go to the body, gets in a couple of shots. Right hook by Pacquiao as Bradley was landing a body shot.
And Bradley's getting in shots upstairs too, but as you mentioned, Jim, they're not really moving Pacquiao.
No, he doesn't have the power. You know, Manny's punches have about twice as much power.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. Bradley's landing punches. He's fighting a typical, you hit me, I hit your back type, Bradley type fight, but he doesn't have the power on those punches.
Stop. Timothy, pick him up.
Pacquiao smirked after the headbutt. He smirked after the low blow. He seems very confident right now.
Smiling and laughing is Pacquiao as he continues to go at it with Tim Bradley. Has Bradley made a decision to try to crowd Pacquiao, Manny?
Yes, he is. That's what he's doing now. He's trying to crowd him and get inside.
Trying to take away the range on that straight left hand.
Manny punches good with range. He gets good leverage when he punches in. And Bradley's trying to shorten it up and take that leverage away where he don't have such a chance to warm up. To stretch those shots out.
Bradley really slapping with the hook in order to land it just then.
Manny doesn't respect the power of Bradley. You can see it in his face now.
And when Bradley throws several punches, he tends to let them go wide and wing it. Manny comes down the middle where his straighter shots sometimes get there first.
Manny's trying uppercuts. For the last 2 rounds, he's trying to predict the way that Bradley's head is and trying to catch him with a left hook.
And he's predicting it pretty well right now. This is a Pacquiao flurry. The right hook lands.
Well, he's moving his head now to survive because he's hurt. He was badly wobbled there. Bradley.
Badly hurt.
Another mark of the power differential in favor of Manny Pacquiao.
So what does Bradley do here? He doesn't want to run to just survive. He doesn't have the firepower to keep Manny off.
Bradley's trying to fight back.
Well, that's
a moment when it may
big right hand from Bradley at the end of that round.
A right hand to punctuate the round.
Okay, hey, champ, we're in the fucking fight. We're in the fucking fight. You have 2 options. You want to continue? Yeah. Okay, let's go. Dude, avoid the fucking pain. Ignore the pain in here. Okay, forget about your fucking foot. We're gonna win this fight, man. You got this? Forget about your foot.
Here we see an exchange right now where they both exchanging punches, and as I've said before, Manny is very good at catching people when they're in the exchange room because he punches and pivots back and forth very well. Nothing is landing clean except for that punch there. And it still didn't seem like it had that much of an effect, but I don't know whether Bradley twisted his ankle as he was moving away or whether it was actually hurt from the punch or whatever it else seemed like his ankle was hurt.
Well, you heard Joel Diaz say, forget about your blanking foot. And Bradley must have said something to him about it. Pacquiao, by CompuBox count, landed 31 power shots in the 4th round, including 21 in that violent flurry in the last minute. It's very hard to imagine anyone scoring that round for Bradley, and frankly, for Bradley to be 4 rounds behind at this point is very bad for him.
Yeah, especially not being a big puncher.
You also saw in Bradley, he mentioned before the fight, look, if I'm going to go down, I'm going to go down in flames. Pacquiao can put you on fire, and that's what he's done so far, but Bradley is still trying to win, which at this point in the fight, a lot of fighters wouldn't be. Of course, the harder he tries to win with those flurries, the more opportunities he gives Pacquiao.
That's the point. He was supposed to stay back and counter in some instances, or pressure and counter, but instead he's trading. And trading with Manny Pacquiao is a terrible idea if you are at a power deficit. Boom, another left hand. Bradley's straight right hand looked slow.
Pacquiao almost playing with him at this point with his guard up.
Pacquiao just playing with him just to relax. I am surprised that Manny is being able to land his left hand as easy as he has been with Bradley.
Trading. And now more retreating for Bradley. Pacquiao got in another couple shots. And the left hand moves Bradley halfway across the ring. And Pacquiao drives him into the ropes. These power shots are taking their toll.
Way too much power. I was very, very surprised at the power that he has.
So far, what's so impressive about this for Pacquiao is he has a real game-primed junior welterweight champion moving up, a real credible opponent, and he's outclassing him.
Manny Pacquiao loves this kind of fight. This is exactly what
Bradley
he wants.
does too. Bradley just doesn't have the power, but Bradley likes this type of fight too.
And here's Anna Paquin, along with Stephen Moyer, the stars of True Blood, which returns for season 4 tomorrow night, 9 o'clock Eastern time on HBO. They're at every big fight now.
Water.
There's some True Blood in Pacquiao's mouth.
Okay.
Been a pretty bloody good fight so far.
Move. Here you see a tremendous left from Manny Pacquiao. It seems as if he just physically overpowered Bradley at this stage right now. And it's just a matter of time because Bradley has not been able to get any respect from Manny with any power at all.
That's Jinky Pacquiao's response to the big left hand by Pacquiao there. So round 6 begins. It's been very difficult, at least to my eyes, to find a round that Bradley could have won up to this point. Pacquiao has landed good power shots in virtually every round.
So far, you see a good fighter against a great fighter, and that's been the difference.
Well, there were quite a number of media people here, ringside experts, who seemed convinced that Pacquiao wasn't going to be a great fighter tonight. But so far, this matchup is conspiring in his favor to a degree that practically none of us would have thought would be the case.
But not just a fighter, but just the physical strength is just amazing to me. I'm looking at how much stronger. It looks like natural strength, just the opposite of what I expected. Manny looks like about 10 pounds of natural strength, and natural size, and much more punching power.
And incidentally, if you look at their physical histories, it's pretty clear Bradley is by nature the larger man.
Yes.
As an amateur, he fought at 152 and 156. And when he, right now, is fighting at age 28 at 147 pounds, Pacquiao at age 28 was fighting at 130.
It was a nice exchange.
Clearly, Bradley's the bigger guy, but Pacquiao's the bigger hitter. That's clear also.
And also, Manny's got a much better defense tonight than I expected.
Manny seems to be taking the first 2 minutes off of some rounds, Emmanuel, at least to a certain degree, and then flurrying in the third minute of the round.
Yes.
And incidentally, late flurries in several rounds were critical to him getting the beneficial decision against Marquez last fall. It's something of which he does more and more.
Bradley having a pretty good round this round so far.
Yes, but there's a minute to go. And this is what happens in the last minute, at least up to this point. Pacquiao tracking another left hand. Gets Bradley against the ropes and hits him 3 times with the left hand.
smiles at us ringside and makes eyes as if to say this is fun. Pacquiao does.
Absolutely right.
Oh, good left uppercut on the inside from Pacquiao.
Great left uppercut.
Whatever it was that limited Manny Pacquiao last fall does not appear to be in the atmosphere tonight.
Huwag ka sumunod, harang lang. Sila, go up on the mouth. Buksan mo yung mukha mo, ha?
Why?
Baba kamay, baba kamay. Huwag kang sumunod.
Don't follow him. Don't follow him. He's waiting for you. He's waiting for you.
Pag tinamaan mo, diretso na yun.
If you hit him, that's it. Don't wait for it.
Mumog.
Earlier, say Manny's got Bradley in the corner, just landing a lot of punches, but particularly the right hook to the body was maybe the best punch out of that whole exchange in there. And it definitely had some effect on Bradley.
Well, we mentioned the last minute syndrome. Pacquiao landed 8 punches in the first 2 minutes of the round, 16 in the last minute of the round. Winds up 24 of 58. Bradley landed 10 punches in the round. Harold, how do you have it halfway through?
Okay, Jim, 6-0, 60 to 54. Manny Pacquiao. Jim, you can't take it away from a guy that comes over and smiles at the announcers. But anyway, Manny Pacquiao did tremendous damage with that hard left hand. I mean, he just nails him with that left hand. And that's been the absolute determining factor in each and every one of these rounds. I mean, he does more damage by landing that left hand. Occasional hard right hook to the body. 6-0, Manny Pacquiao.
I mean, to be playing cat and mouse with Tim Bradley tonight just speaks at the age of 33, incidentally.
Again, Bradley choosing to trade with Pacquiao. And once again, that's a dangerous tactic against a guy who clearly has more firepower.
But, you know, this is the way Bradley's fought always. I mean, as an amateur, he's known for those exchanges like that. But he's with a guy that can punch, unlike anybody he's fought before as far as punching power. But that's the way he likes to fight.
Well, you know him pretty well, Emmanuel, and clearly one of the biggest assets he had coming into the fight, it was very persuasive for a lot of people this week, was his powerful self-belief and self-confidence. Where do you suppose that self-belief is now?
I don't think he has that type of confidence anymore, but he's still in the fight. But I think his confidence has waned after he felt the power of Manny. Manny was physically much stronger and more powerful than he ever anticipated.
I'm thinking of a conversation we had with Nassim Richardson when Richardson was in the Shane Mosley fighter meeting at last month's pay-per-view card. Somebody said something disparaging about Pacquiao, and Richardson said, listen, you can knock him all you want until he touches you. When he touches you, that's when you learn how special he is.
I mean, here's Bradley still fighting as hard as he can. I think what he has realized is throughout his career, his willpower has always been enough to overcome the other guy's talent, skill, whatever it is. Pacquiao's so good, sheer will doesn't seem to be enough, but it hasn't stopped Bradley from trying.
I don't think anything will stop Bradley from trying. He's a very committed person. And Pacquiao seems to be bleeding in the mouth and may have a cut tongue. So we'll see if that becomes a factor as the fight goes on. But again, they're trading shots. And that's exactly what Pacquiao wants. Bradley landing more punches in this round. I read it wrong. Pacquiao's landing more punches. And Bradley has, for the first time, a discouraged look on his face as he goes back to the corner.
Dude, look. Your foot fucked up in the second round, dude. You're in the 7th. Hey, you're good, man. Can you give me 5 more of these? Chat, come on. Fucking look alive. I am. Okay, look at fucking alive. Let's go.
All right, man. Just walk him down. Head the ring off, okay?
That's nothing. Relax. Relax.
Keep my distance. Hey, just slide back a little bit, man. All you have to do is slide back and counter his that. Okay? Let's go, baby. Okay? Let's go, Jack. We're almost there, baby.
Box
Let's go.
numbers showing Pacquiao nearly doubling Bradley in terms of number of landed punches. In the last round, he landed 27 to 13 for Bradley. Now here comes round 8. Maybe one of the judges could have found a round here or there to give to Bradley, but so far it's been pretty close to a shutout for Manny Pacquiao, or so it appears to us. You know, Emmanuel, if Pacquiao wants to more or less take the first 2 minutes of the round off, and it looks to me as though he does, Bradley hasn't done much to push him in this round.
Bradley can't do nothing. Bradley because of the size. And also, Manny has a good defense, too.
There's the first headbutt of the fight.
Go.
But Manny's defense is where Bradley cannot penetrate.
It's just the talent disparity is such that Manny can take the first half of the round off with the first 2 minutes, not sustain too much damage, and then just take over and fight for a minute at the end.
Pacquiao got him a solid right hook, and now there's the straight left again. Bradley landed a right hand. He thinks for the moment he might have bothered Pacquiao. Pacquiao has a smile on his face. Perhaps indeed Bradley hurt him. But now Pacquiao drives him back again with a straight left hand. That was the first propitious moment in quite a while for Tim Bradley. That and one right hand that he landed at the end of a round a few rounds ago.
Pacquiao is breathing through his mouth now, and we are about to enter the last third of the fight.
And we're entering the last third of the round, where Pacquiao has done most of his damage in the 7 rounds up to now.
Punch it out. Punch it out. Let's go.
Stop! Tim Bradley's only scored 1 knockout in his career past the 6th round. Manny Pacquiao, throughout his career, has demonstrated a pretty good chin. There's nothing that's happened so far to suggest that Bradley's in any position to set up a knockout of Pacquiao. And the rounds are winding down. This was Pacquiao's least energetic round in a while, but Bradley did almost nothing to take advantage of it. Part of the change of life for Manny Pacquiao. For the first time ever, his 2 young sons come to watch him fight. Manny Jr. and Michael flanking mom, Chinky Pacquiao. Mom either with a stern warning or a stern question to her son there, or so it appeared.
Pull him.
Pull him. Hook straight, oh. Hook straight bang. Hatawan mo, pag hook mo, mababa siya. Uppercut, hook straight.
When he comes down, go for the uppercut.
Huwag masyadong mahaba.
Take it easy. Not too far. Don't extend too much.
Hata. Hook, flip on, hata.
And feign he'll jab.
Let's go.
We brought back our longtime Tagalog interpreter, Ernie Kalua, tonight, because we noticed last fall that Buboy Fernandez is talking almost as much or more in the corner to Manny Pacquiao than Freddie Roach does. There's Harold Letterman's card, which is now 80-72. As even while seeming to take the last round off, Pacquiao landed 15 punches to only 9 for Bradley. And by the way, I should say Tagalog. That is the language that Ernie interprets for us. There you go. That's the fight right there. Manny Pacquiao launching and landing a straight left hand. big flush.
Watch your head. Watch your head.
Another straight left hand between the guard by Pacquiao. 2 more punches landing on the inside.
Stop, I got stop. Stop, guys, stop. Stop.
That shot was blocked. Pacquiao's gloves carefully guarding his face.
Both guys are
right
catching
down the middle
a lot
through the
of
guard.
punches.
What?
Both guys are blocking very well, except when they're in those wild exchanges.
Yep.
But other than that, both guys are doing very good on defense.
Yep. The difference is when Pacquiao gets one through the guard,
it's the power.
It does damage. That's exactly right.
It's the power.
Pacquiao slings the left hand over the top.
What must it be like for a champion of the world like Tim Bradley, undefeated in his prime, catch a guy just at the right time, fight as hard as he can, and it's just not good enough.
And lose every round, which by my eyes is the case so far. 9 rounds in the books. In my view, 9 Pacquiao rounds.
I think in the view of most watching.
Hard rounds, but he's won them.
That was Freddie Roach's prediction.
Well, so far, I'll give Manny
You can
every
do
one
this,
of the
baby.
rounds at this
If you
stage
want
here.
to put pressure, I know what's wrong with your fucking foot. But you gotta move
So
your
far, it's a
shoulders
good prediction.
a little faster. Hey, you got bowing and waving faster, okay? And don't fucking drop your hands when you come up, please, okay?
Tim, he getting tired.
Trying to get you racing up.
He getting tired. You
Keep
can't let him
on
off the
racing
hook.
up, champ.
You can't let him off the hook, Tim.
Hey, we talked about it. Counters after counters, baby. Thank you. Keep your head up. Keep your head up. Keep your head up. You're good, baby. Hey, almost, baby. 3 fucking more rounds. Yeah. 3 more rounds, baby. You're there.
He's tired. He's tired.
He's fucking tired.
He's tired too.
Mark Wahlberg, big fight fan, and of course, you know, we saw him as the fighter. Has trained considerable time in the wild card gym with Freddie Roach. Power shots in 9. Pacquiao landed 22. Bradley had his best statistical round, 21 out of 52. Bradley 25 to 78. Pacquiao threw 94 punches in that round. Harold, how do you have it through 9?
Okay, Chip. I've got it 9-0, 90 to 81. Manny Pacquiao. He still does too much damage in each and every round with that straight left hand. I mean, the guy, he just can't seem to miss Timothy Bradley's jaw. He comes across with that straight left hand. And, you know, Timothy Bradley, you got to give him credit. He takes a heck of a punch. But even still, Manny Pacquiao nailing him with too many left hands. 9-0, Manny Pacquiao.
Tell you something else. Yes, Pacquiao's winning competitive rounds, and Bradley's very tough. But I get the feeling that if Bradley had a little more, Pacquiao would ratchet it up and also win competitive rounds. I don't get the feeling that Bradley's really coming close to winning these rounds. That Pacquiao is...
He's making them exciting rounds.
He's not making it tougher on himself than he has to.
And you've heard Joel Diaz in the corner talking to Bradley about his foot and saying ignore it, etc. He has told others at ringside that Bradley has a damaged right foot, and he heard it somehow in the second round. They're using the term, it's broken. I'm not sure how somebody with a broken foot would be moving the way Bradley is, but the bottom line supposedly is he's compromised by his right foot.
Every fighter's dealing with something, right, Emmanuel? There's always something. A foot, a hand.
Part of the fight game.
Yeah, probably Manny Pacquiao will tell us after the fight that his calves were tight.
And that Bradley was a very determined contender.
Now let's see if Pacquiao tries to fashion the last-minute rally, which has been his pattern throughout the fight. Good left hook by Bradley. Straight left hand for Pacquiao. Well, this is a round in which Pacquiao hasn't done much with 30 seconds to go, and Bradley landed a couple of good shots.
So far, Bradley's won this round, but he hasn't been able to do any damage. He did enough to win the round, probably, but not really hurt Manny.
And interestingly, it's Bradley implementing the strategy we thought he'd implement from the beginning, which is trying to counter Pacquiao.
This would clearly appear to be Bradley's best round. Pacquiao's trying to come on now at the end, land one more big shot, maybe clean it, but the bell sounds.
All right, we let that round go. We need enough punches, okay? There's more punches, there's combination. We got 6 minutes to go, son. All right? It's your fight.
Come on. No pain. No pain.
Hey, you're a fucking warrior, champ.
No pain.
Here we see a situation which I think was the 4th round, which is where I believe Bradley hurt his right foot as he was doing all this twisting and pivoting, keeping up with Manny, which is one of Manny's specialty.
There you go.
And there it is when he twisted the right foot right there. I think that's what it's still bothered him possibly. But nevertheless, Manny is fighting his fight. Still, it's more that Manny just physically and too strong and too powerful.
The 10th round was statistically equal according to CompuBox. They landed the same number of punches. They landed the same number of power shots. Personally, I think Bradley got in a couple of punches that were better, and Harold Letterman agrees with us. Freddie Roach agreed, and now Bradley has broken the shutout, at least by our lights.
In a basketball game, the Eastern Conference Finals ended today with the Heat beating the Celtics. In a basketball game, a guy rolls his ankle like that, he comes out of the game, at least for a little while. But in the fight game, there's nowhere to hide. You gotta just fight with it.
There's no substitute to bring in. Incidentally, Emmanuel, I personally think Pacquiao's beard is a little bit on the full side, and if I were Joel Diaz, I might have demanded that it be shaved.
Yeah. But you know, that's a small detail, and I think Diaz is just not that type of a guy. And you know, Manny's always had that kind of mustache, beard, or whatever you call it.
Bradley's not a power puncher anyway.
Yeah, right. It wouldn't matter.
Straight left hand for Pacquiao.
Pacquiao threw that punch to end the fight.
Yeah, exactly. He was trying to knock Bradley out with that shot. Bradley's proven he's got a pretty decent chin. Makes Kendall Holt look good for having knocked him down in the first round.
Good chin.
And as he's turned the fight into this little kind of minor skirmishes and ambushes, he's done better over the last couple rounds. But too little, too late.
Yeah, Pacquiao came out in the early rounds and answered any questions about whether his new change of life would make him more docile as a prize fighter. He took command of the fight, he landed power shots, he won the rounds. Right hook by Pacquiao. Left hand by Pacquiao. 47 seconds to go in the round. He seems to be looking for a KO here in the 11th.
Both guys has great coordination and footwork. And that's why it's hard for anyone to land 2 solid punches in a row. Unbelievable balance on both of the guys.
Manny Pacquiao's footwork is unbelievable.
Yes, it is.
He gets to places no other fighter can get to.
And he's getting close with those home run left hands.
Yes, he is. Bradley, at the moment, decides his best defense is a good offense, lands a right hand. Pacquiao keeps coming.
That was a strafing shot from Bradley. And a good right hand to the body.
But another good round for Manny Pacquiao, who's landed several hard power shots. And with only 1 round to go, it seems to be a foregone conclusion.
Got 1 more round, baby. 1 more round, you gotta make history, baby, okay? Just relax. Take a fucking deep breath. Here's a mouthpiece, coach. Here's a mouthpiece. Hey, be smart. You got 1 round. You don't want to make mistakes in this fucking round. This is the most critical round of the fucking fight, the last one. Okay? We're here together, okay? Let's put it together now.
Show the world.
Last round.
Let's knock this guy out. Let's go.
Last round.
All right.
Kunin natin to.
Last round, gentlemen. Touch.
It's the last round. Let's get this fight. Just keep getting in.
Pag hindi ka rin sumunod, maghihintay siya.
If he waits for you,
makinig ka. Pag umikot siya dito, bagsak dito. Pag umikot, bagsak dito.
when he turns around, hit him with the other one.
Touch him up. Touch up. All right, let's go.
Well, if we reach the final bell, it'll be the 5th consecutive Pacquiao fight to go the distance, and still we talk about his remarkable punching power. Bottom line is good fighters like Tim Bradley, if they want not to get knocked out, can do a pretty good job of avoiding it.
But I still think he punches good. I think Manny's still one of the best punchers in the game. He punches through his targets. Bradley's a tough guy, and after that, maybe a third or fourth round, he hasn't been able to land solid on Bradley with 2 or 3 punches. Bradley's dipping, twisting, turning, moving, ducking, turning around, not getting hit solid with 2 punches.
I'll tell you something else.
See that?
Not only is Pacquiao moving Bradley more with his shots than Bradley moving Pacquiao, but this is the hardest I've ever seen Bradley throw punches. This is Bradley primed for the moment, throwing the hardest shots he can and not hurting Pacquiao with them.
Exactly. But you can't grow power overnight. You have it or you don't. And to some degree, it's a mystery why some fighters have power and others who appear as though they should don't. Emmanuel, to a certain degree, you just can't figure it out, can you?
No, you can improve punching power a lot, but some guys are just born that way. I call it heavy-handed. Just
how about heavy calves? Look at those calves on Pacquiao.
The biggest I've ever saw in proportion to his body. It's unbelievable.
Well, there's no question that's where the power comes from. The driving legs, his ability to commit, his willingness to risk to throw those shots, all of it conspires to make him a great prize fighter.
One of the greatest who ever lived. Every generation has their guys, and this one, it's Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather, of course, and hopefully one day we get to see that fight.
Hope springs eternal in the boxing fan's heart.
Meanwhile, Bradley's still throwing punches like he means it.
And winning this round at this point, in my opinion.
Just a tremendous performance against the game in his prime. Young champion, determined to win, never stopped trying, but outclassed.
Well, I guess Bradley's cornermen feel as though they might not be at this level again, so they want to pick their fighter up and carry him around. Pacquiao is on his feet in the corner talking with his guys. Bradley's still hoisted aloft. And let's take a look at the story of the fight in highlight form. And the caption here is Manny Pacquiao's straight left hand. One of the dominant weapons in boxing, perhaps the #1 offensive weapon in boxing over the course of the past 8 or 10 years. Manny Pacquiao's straight left hand, Emmanuel Stewart, dominated this fight.
But after the first few rounds, he never could land it consistently. You know, he could land it every once in a while, but usually, most of the time, Bradley was moving away from the punches. And he never could land it after these first two right here. The rest of the punches, he couldn't land just the way he wanted to. But he still did enough to win the fight and overpower Bradley.
Harold, how did your scorecard wind up?
Okay, Jim, I got a 119, 109, 11 rounds to 1, Manny Pacquiao. I agree with the graphic, with the clip that shows that straight left hand landing over and over and over again. That was the determining factor in each and every round. He would hurt Bradley with that straight, vicious left hand. Bradley couldn't knock enough power shots to hurt Pacquiao more. 11 to 1, Manny Pacquiao.
All right, Harold Letterman, take us through the 3 official judges who will score the fight very quickly.
All right, Jim, as I say, Dwayne Ford teaches all the other judges how to judge. Very solid choice here. CJ Ross, she's been judging for a while, there's no doubt about it. She's been judging since 1992, but I don't know if she's ready for a major fight like this. A little bit shaky. Jerry Roth, very good judge. Had a tough time recently with Brandon Rios and Richard Abril, but other than that, he's usually pretty solid.
All right. And Michael Buffer is standing by with the official results. Let's go to him right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, here at the MGM Grand, we go to the scorecards. Jerry Roth scores about 115, 113 for Pacquiao. CJ Ross scores it 115, 113 for Bradley. And Dwayne Ford scores it 115, 113 to the winner by split decision. And new WBO welterweight champion of the world, the Desert Storm, Timothy
I don't think we're blind. I think Harold Letterman is the best scorer alive, and I think that is a terrible, bogus decision.
I'm dumbfounded. I don't know what to say. I mean, that's when they started off the 115 and 113. And I have no comment. I'm totally confused.
I'm as confused as anyone could possibly be. Chinky Pacquiao's reaction at ringside. Timothy Bradley has scored an upset split decision victory over Manny Pacquiao. God only knows how. Harold Letterman,
Jim,
you covered Dwayne Ford with glory. You talked about how he teaches the others how to score. He scored the fight for Timothy Bradley.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. Manny Pacquiao was the aggressor all night. He walked him down, he set him up, and then he belted him with the left hand. I mean, you couldn't miss it. Timothy Bradley covering up, backing up, never really landed a solid shot that stopped Pacquiao in his tracks. Never hurt him once. I mean, that decision was a crime. Without question, Manny Pacquiao won the fight.
What is happening to scoring in Las Vegas, Nevada? This is the second decision here this year that those of us who follow the sport have to look at and think of as absurd. Bob Arum smiling as he hugged Timothy Bradley.
Yeah, both under contract. But, you know, after being here for the second Hearns-Leonard fight, and in doing that decision, nothing really surprises me in decisions.
Well, there's Manny Pacquiao waving to the crowd and smiling. If that was a test of his new commitment and religious faith, he passes the test because he's able to treat this equanimously, at least so far. Total punches landed. Pacquiao lands 94 more by CompuBox count, and lands at nearly twice the connect percentage rate, landing 34% of his punches to 19% for Bradley. Power punches, 190 for Pacquiao, 108 for Bradley, 28% to 39%. And frankly, I didn't see Bradley land that many really solid connect shots in the fight.
No, when they had those little flash exchanges, he landed punches a lot of time. He would get out of the way on many shots and land a lot of flashy tail end punches, but I didn't think he did enough to beat him and to win the decision.
What about all the banging to the body and clinches? Could that have been the difference? It's just amazing to me. I have no way to understand this. Let's take a look at Monica Bradley during the moment of the decision. And that's Cameron Duncan, who is Bradley's manager. And their level of ecstasy is almost beyond description. And this is Jinky Pacquiao, who heard the third score and looks up in extreme disbelief. She's been to a few fights in her lifetime.
She has a lot of company.
The two boys came to their prize fight for the first time, and here's Bradley hearing the decision.
Well, Bradley himself showed the emotions that he'd won the fight after the fight, his expressions.
All right, Max Kellerman is in the ring. Let's go to him right now.
Tim, congratulations on a tremendous performance of heart and determination. You hear the reaction of the crowd. Ringside, we had Pacquiao up by a considerable margin. It seemed to us that you guys thought you'd lost the fight at the end of the fight. Tell me about it.
No, you know what? It was a good fight. It was a good competitive fight. Every round was pretty close. Pacquiao, you know, he won some of the early rounds. The later rounds, I controlled the action with my jab, moving. You know, I got to go back home, review the tape, and I'll see if I won the fight or really done.
You hurt your foot, it seemed. Yeah. Here's the shot of what happened. Describe it to me.
I know I was stepping back. I think I stepped on his ankle. I'm not sure what happened. There it is, right there. There it is, right there.
Was this a pre-existing injury that you exacerbated? It happened?
No, not at all. Not at all. I was just trying to get out the way of Manny's punches.
Early on, we were very impressed by how much determination you were showing in the face of what looked to us like superior firepower. What did you think early in the fight when Manny was hitting you?
Well, I mean, he's a strong puncher. He rocked me a couple times in the fight. But, you know, I withstanded it. You know, I held my ground and I fought hard to the end.
Okay, what is this feeling for you right now? The biggest win of your career, still undefeated officially, and Manny congratulating you, but you're hearing boos cascading down. What does this feel like?
You know what? This is boxing. November 10th, we can do the rematch, and you know, he can make it up. He can make it up.
As you predicted, November 10th rematch?
Absolutely.
Manny, what do you think about this fight?
Well, you know, people knows, and you know, I accept what the result is. I respect the judges, the referee, all the officials. You know, I cannot blame them. It's part of the game, and I accept that wholeheartedly, and I give thanks to the Lord. You know, I mean, I do my best, but my best wasn't good enough.
Did you think you won the fight?
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely.
Do you want a rematch on November 10th?
No problem, no problem. I mean, let's give credit to Bradley, and he did well tonight, and you know, I respect him, and that's the decision. We respect the officials.
Thank you, Manny. Tim, just to continue with you here for a second, and not to rain on your parade because it's the biggest win of your career. How does it feel to have the official verdict to have won, to have beaten Manny Pacquiao?
I mean, it feels great. It feels great, but I'm not satisfied. You know, you can hear the boos in the crowd. You know, everybody in the crowd think I lost the fight. I know it's predominantly Pacquiao fans, but you know what? Let's do it again. Let's do it again.
The punch stat numbers favored him by a bunch, thrown, landed, etc. But there were some quieter rounds, especially later in the fight, where you seemed to maybe have pulled it out. I spoke to someone whose opinion I trust ringside, who did score the fight for you. You said you wanted to go back and look at the tape. What are you looking for?
Well, I'm going to see if I won the fight or not. You know, I was in here. I thought it was a close match. Let me go back, watch the tape, and see if I won the fight. That's pretty much it.
An honest answer from an honest fighter. Congratulations on a gutsy performance against a great fighter himself, Tim. Jim?
All right, thank you very much, Max Kellerman, and all credit to both Manny Pacquiao and Tim Bradley for a very spirited prize fight. Let me say this, and I say this to friends and and colleagues all the time. Scoring prize fights is not all that easy. It isn't as easy as it looks. If you try to score a prize fight, you might find yourself running into the same obstacles that official scorers sometimes run into. But Emmanuel, it shouldn't be that hard. It shouldn't be that difficult.
No, but you know, I'm just so confused when I started hearing the scores, 115, 113. I mean, just the fact that even if it was for Manny, I was surprised that close. But, you know, everybody laughs at me because I love knockouts, and that's why. I've saw this so many times. It's a part of boxing. Thomas Hearns and Sugar Ray Leonard, the second fight with Tommy knocking Ray down twice, and they still called it a draw. But, you know, I just accepted it. We walked out of the ring. Officially, that's what it is, and that's what it is tonight. It was still a good competitive fight. It wasn't a one-sided fight, but it was about as close as you could get without one guy being knocked down a few times.
I'm trying to think of a decision with which I more disagree. I think I have to go all the way back to Shannon Briggs versus George Foreman. Max Kellerman, how do we explain this to our fans?
Well, first, you know, guys like me always say, well, the money guy in the fight is the guy who's going to get the benefit of the doubt and win the decision. And Top Rank, the most powerful promotional entity, Pacquiao means the most money to them. This sort of dispels that line of thinking. I can think of fights like Stevie Johnston and Cesar Bazan, for instance, where the rematch, where people sitting on one side of the ring thought Stevie Johnston shut him out. On the other side of the ring, thought Bazan won a close decision. I do notice polling people ringside, some of whose opinions I trust, that those sitting by Bradley's corner seem to think he won. Some credible people think Bradley won. And I also remember the Mosley De La Hoya rematch, where you guys, I didn't call that fight, it was you guys with Larry Merchant, and you guys had De La Hoya winning by a substantial margin. I was sitting ringside in press row. I thought Mosley won. So I'd like to, as Tim said, go back and look at the tape and maybe view it again with the sound also. Maybe we're not influencing what I'm thinking. That said, usually the guy who on CompuBox lands many more punches, lands many more power punches, especially when that jibes with what I think I saw, I'm pretty confident saying I thought that fighter won. And that was Manny Pacquiao.
It'll be fascinating to see what the media scores are. Yes, there was the giant disparity the night of De La Hoya versus Mosley, too, when all of us on the broadcast team were sure that De La Hoya had won, and virtually everybody on press row thought that Shane Mosley had won.
Maybe we gave into groupthink. I'd like to go back and see, but I don't think so.
Maybe we led each other along. I don't find that I've ever influenced Harold Letterman that way. He had it 10 rounds to 2. By the way, if you're looking for where the margin of victory came from, on the official scorecards, in the last 3 rounds, 10, 11, and 12, that's 9 scorecards, and on those 9 scorecards, Pacquiao won 1. So 8 of the last 9 round scores went to Bradley in this fight. Now, again, Harold Letterman scored both the 11th and the 12th rounds for Pacquiao, but they were relatively close rounds. Could we have led ourselves down the primrose path, Emmanuel?
We could have. You know, I'm also thinking Manny got the benefit of a controversial decision his last fight here with Marquez. And in my mind, I've always said, if it's another close fight, I don't think the Nevada Commission will put themselves on the line and say they're just going with the money fighter, which is Pacquiao. But never would I expect anything like this to happen. But I'm looking at the judges, all of the scorecards was fairly consistent to some degree, even though totally not blending in or compatible with what we thought and most of the fans thought. But that's the way it is, and Timothy Bradley is the new WBO welterweight champion of the world.
And one significant effect, which we have not mentioned at all up to this point, is that if you're one of those who's been waiting with bated breath for 3 years for Manny Pacquiao to fight Floyd Mayweather, you're going to be waiting longer, because this has thrown a giant monkey wrench into any momentum which may have existed toward a negotiation for that fight. Now, Floyd Mayweather is within his rights in saying, why do I have to fight Manny Pacquiao? He just lost his last fight. So probably, unquestionably, we're going to see a rematch between Pacquiao and Bradley. That presumes that Pacquiao wants to continue his boxing career and wants to get back to the level where he's been. Tonight, he has the 4th loss of his career. Tim Bradley is still unbeaten and has a brand new status. I've seldom been more befuddled by a decision, and I think it was flat out wrong. Thanks very much for being with us on this terrific pay-per-view attraction. June 16, World Championship Boxing returns, with Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. defending his middleweight title belt against Irish action southpaw Andy Lee. July 7th, Boxing After Dark brings you a unification matchup at 122 pounds. Nonito Donaire and Jeffrey Matabula put their titles on the line. Also that night, always entertaining brawler Brandon Rios faces Mauricio Herrera. Pacquiao versus Bradley has been brought to you by Cerveza Tecate, Con Carácter, AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. MGM Grand, the city of entertainment in Las Vegas. And by HBO Pay-Per-View, the best in pay-per-view entertainment, brought to you by HBO. You can get exclusive updates from HBO Boxing's Facebook page and Twitter feed. And as always, at HBO.com, the home of HBO Boxing Online. And now for our entire crew, this is Jim Lampley with a special shout out to our missing audio specialist, Paul Hogat. Paul, we're all thinking of you. Saying so long from Las Vegas, Nevada.